Ganstabet is Icon's next generation NFT collectibles of 5,555 gangsters and detectives, with changeable names and stats. Holders of Ganstabet NFTs receive daily distributions of GBet tokens. GBet can be used to upgrade their NFT skills and stats. The supply of GBet will decrease over time and will stop after 9 years. Holding Ganstabet NFTs will have opportunities for future airdrops and will give you access to Ganstabet's highly anticipated metaverse. Learn more at gangstabet.io.
Shout out to our sponsors at IconBet. Open source, decentralized gaming, no deposits, play straight from your wallet. IconBet, made by the players, for the players.
Eye on Icon is proudly supported by Icon Nation and the Icon community. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Eye on Icon, the episode where we go around the ecosystem and bring you all the latest and greatest news. And today we have a special appearance from Digital Dave. Welcome to the show, man. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for the invite, and very excited to run through the news today and the markets.
Excellent. I know we were just having a bit of pre-chat. I was making sure Dave didn't have any jitters of show appearances and whatnot, and then we were talking markets, and I really like the way he gauged markets. And I'm gonna get you to explain that. So how do you do it, David? What's your way of gauging exactly what crypto is going to do?
Yeah, well, TA is hard, and I don't understand it. So I generally stay away from the charts and kind of just check the vibe on Twitter, see if people are happy or unhappy. And based on the sentiment, I kind of assume Bitcoin price. And I must say, Bitcoin price and Icon price, I haven't checked any charts, but the sentiment's been good the past couple of days. So maybe you can tell us more about that.
Well, yes, no, I like that. So, so at what point though do you execute on buys based on that sentiment? So when it's looking all happy, do you then go in and buy, or when it's looking doom and gloom?
I don't do a lot of buying, I must admit. So I got into Icon.
Yep.
And there's like some other interesting projects like Ethereum that I've at some point bought into.
Mm-hmm.
And never really touched the bag, to be honest.
Yep.
It goes up and it goes down. I don't want to burn my hands on that kind of stuff, which again is why the price is, for me, is good enough watching Twitter sentiment and just assuming.
Yes, long-term holder, so you're not phased by these movements, which is a good mentality to have.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, let's quickly go over the markets. ICX, we've seen a bit of a run at the moment. It's climbed up to 87. I was a bit shocked while I was putting this together. I was like, holy moly, didn't realize that was happening, which is always a good feeling. Overall, bearish bull is going to be judging my lines, but just looking at touch point, even if, actually, let me just delete this line. If for people on the show, so we got on the podcast, it seems to have broken its downtrend since January. That has been happening, and it's broken out. I don't remember why this big candle happened. Or this was
That
actually
was
the president.
Yoon
Yes.
news.
Moon news. Yoon news. Yes, not moon, and it mooned as well. But overall, though, we're sitting healthy above the RSI as well. Let's see. Let's hope we get a bit more of a pump, but ICX looking good. Overall, the general markets have been very favorable. In fact, if anything, a lot of people have become very bullish on Bitcoin at the moment. I've noticed they're shouting next 2 months 70k from a what is it? What are the guys called? Man, I haven't been keeping up with them, but on chain. From on-chain's perspective, there has been considerable amount of BTC still consistently leaving exchanges. One metric that they're showing, that they keep talking about, is the cycle seems very different because BTC is leaving, however, which signals institutional interest. However, people are not. Retail interest is still very much no one seems to care, or for Bitcoin in particular at the moment. So it's interesting when this is previous cycles, they were always correlated. It kind of, well, there was always talk of corporate interest, but that was never happening. This cycle is happening, and this is what's currently happening in this period. So overall, there's been a lot of bullish sentiment around this. And then ETH, for example, now this has had a lot of bullish sentiment, and this is related to the merge. Are you across a lot of that stuff, David? What's happening with ETH?
So the initial plan was to move from proof of work to proof of stake for the entire network. A plan which they set in motion, and they had a lot of people stake their ETH for the first time with an infinite lockup period. So you'd stake, which admittedly I've done as well,
Good.
not knowing when you're going to get it back, but in the meanwhile, getting anywhere between 4 to 8% APY on that staked amount. Now, about a month or two ago, they actually revised their plans of moving to a proof of stake network completely. And they started talking about the merge, which is the new plan, where they kind of have a bit of both, to just put it in layman's terms. So they're taking the best of both worlds. I do believe they're moving away from this energy intensive proof of work, but it's not going to be 100% the original proof of stake the way they intended. And this merge is inbound. I don't know dates, but from my Twitter price sentiment analysis that I do every day, I feel that it's coming.
Yeah. I think, look, most of that is they're still going full proof of stake. I think this was always part of the journey. So the staking contract, you locked it, no time frame. However, they've managed to. I was listening to a Bankless podcast the other day, and I always get jumbled up, but there's stages, merge, this, that. So currently on one of the test nets, they have done the merge successfully. Although a few days later, they've detected some bugs in the parity. Not parity. One of the test nets, which they have fixed, but obviously when they found this, they're looking to investigate to make sure everything's fine. But the overall, what David, you've said is exactly correct. The goal is to get to proof and stake. They've got it through various stages. Once this happens, there's still going to be, you cannot access your ETH, but after a period of time, then all of a sudden you can access your ETH. And part of this merging process as well, when it's finally done, your APRs on staking that currently is at 5 to 6 to 7% will actually possibly get to that 10-11% staking on ETH when you're securing the chain. So a lot of bullish sentiment around this. And obviously when this happens, I think some of the throttling limitations that ETH has is going to get unlocked as well, right? So there's a lot of positive sentiment around this. And I think people felt this was a lot further away, but overall, this is kind of what you hear about when people are saying it's not far off, this and that. That's kind of what's happening. And there was always questions while this was happening: is it priced in? Is it priced in? Are we in a bear market? Could it not reflect? But sentiment is, at some point, even if we break out, if we're in a bear market, it may not reflect yet, but when it does happen, eventually it'll catch up. But apparently, based on this weekly move, it wasn't priced in, so let's see what happens there.
There's about 7.9% of all Ethereum staked into that contract right now. And what you just said is interesting. I did not know that the staking rewards would actually increase once the tokens become available again. What I was thinking about is, hey, what happens when you suddenly release 8% of all this staked ETH back to the public? Because a lot of these people have staked when the price was half of what it is now. So I was thinking, are we going to get a massive sell-off when that happens, or is there other factors that are going to keep the money in Ethereum?
Well, I think one of the, and see, this is where I'm not getting too particular, but the logic is, and this is David Hoffman, who he's one of the hosts, so he calls out that, I mean, this interest is going up, the interest rate, the staking reward, However, inflation is almost will be down to zero. So you kind of, the argument is maybe people will sell, but at the end of the day, you got an asset that is now deflationary and giving you a yield of this much. Will people actually capitalize and keep it? There's a few things happening here. But I think the real story here is that there would technically almost be no issuance of ETH, whereas at the moment there has always been a ridiculous amount of ETH until EIP 1559 was put into place. So interesting times. We could talk about this all day, but then we'd be called Ion Ethereum. Here's a catch. No, okay. Look, the markets overall, yep, I think we've covered it. Ethereum, things looking bullish. Should you get sucked into the hype? I don't know. Be careful. Not financial advice. Overall, it'll be good to see Icon get up above that $1 and keep cruising past it. Okay, let's jump into the news, David. So we got a whole heap of Icon Foundation news first. So this one was a great post, and happy to see. Foundation is talking about they're pushing ahead with standardizing terminology Icon users. We saw that from the supply perspective, where we were using a different way of communicating the circulating supply, and there was this tweet, and we covered that last time. But now we're seeing that we're trying to use terminologies that are used across proof of stake chains and kind of merge it so that Icon's using the same thing as well. Because technically, if you have stayed on another chain like Luna, let's say, in the Terra ecosystem, they're validators, they're this, they're that. It's all the same on Icon, but when you come to Icon, people are talking PREPs this. So someone who isn't switched into crypto and only has heard of one chain before that, or Ethereum, for example, it's all foreign mumbo jumbo. So great to see this initiative kick off. David, have you had time to look at this?
I've looked at the document, which is in the Icon forum. It's actually a place where community members are asked to give their opinions on this terminology. It's not set in stone. It can be what the community wants it to be, but I do think it's a very good move to start naming certain aspects of the Icon blockchain in line with the naming convention that you see in all these other mainstream blockchains. And this wasn't the case 4 or 5 years ago. There wasn't a mainstream, and I think Icon did a big effort in trying to make everything understandable by naming nodes citizens and pushing this whole digital nations analogy forward, so people could understand what the big interoperability plans were that Icon had at the time. But now, fast forward 4 or 5 years, there is much more adoption and people are better tuned in, and it seems like a very smart move to just align our terminology with that of the mainstream, because it will just increase Icon adoption in particular, I think.
Yeah, agree. Look, and to that point, so I had the tweet up. The tweet actually led to the forums. In the forums, you go take a look. You can see they actually comment about dev documentations updates, which they promised a date around. That's interesting in itself, but the terminology list is in there, which I also have on the screen right now, and you can see literally every aspect has kind of been brought up and put in. Now, what's cool about this is I know I have spoken to Eric as well, who's put this up. He is extremely keen to get more engagement happening on the forums, which, so if everyone knew, long-time listeners would know it was a dream at the start that I gave up on as well. However, I would always call this out if there was interesting conversations happening. Head to the forums. So I'm doing this now. Head to the forums. We've got everyone actually asking questions. We've got FOMO in there. We've got who else have we got? We've got Mousebelt in there. We've got Min. He's come in and thrown a bit of a comment in there. So really get in there, get involved in the conversation. This is the whole point. I'm very excited to see this stuff. These are some of the things we've been told that they're going to happen. Now they're happening, and they're happening the right way. They're not just being changed. They're being engaged. Everyone's being engaged for it. Now, if you don't get in there and have a say, you're lost. But yeah, excited about this. Look, overall, look, even Citizen, see this, some of the stuff you were talking about. I noticed P-reps. Yeah, I'm done with that term myself. I've cheekily keep saying node validators.
Yeah, it feels like a subtle rebranding, doesn't it? Like
Mm.
you don't need to change your logo and colors to be to rebrand. This is a rebranding of terminology, and I think it's good.
Yeah, agree.
And I'm
Okay.
not just saying that because Min commented that. I'm saying that because I really think that. Yeah.
No, it's like just before this, you're completely opposite, and then Min said that. Oh yes, no.
He's listening.
Okay. So what have we got next? Okay, CPS related news. So we know for a fact, it had been paused for a little bit in terms of there were changes, and these were some of the changes. And we've got TJ put through now that P-reps can actually prioritize. So when you're going to vote, you can kind of give a 1, 2, 3, and he's implied what these means, and then that's how the projects will get prioritized. Why is this happening? It is happening because we're having so many people put up proposals. So we kind of need a fair way to distribute the funding. I have a few other thoughts on why this is happening, but David, I'll throw over to you. What do you think of this new system?
I want to know your other thoughts.
Oh, do you now? Oh, they're not good. I'm not in everything's roses and peachy kind of mood today.
Okay, well, my thoughts. I think this is a logical next step. I feel CPS is like a diamond that's being cut left and right to become this beautiful version of itself, and this is a logical step. We hadn't had this before, had we? Where there's so much applications coming in, and there's just these little edge cases where you'll find people have applied and paid an application amount, but then they don't get through. Do they get their money back? No. Do they get added into the next round? Yes. Do they get voted out again? Now they're going to get half of their money back. So these are just all these edge cases that are being taken care of as CPS grows, so that it becomes like a bigger, automated, decentralized machine. So I think TJ is doing a very good job in addressing all these and just putting through the solutions with the team. It'll make it all much smoother in the future.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts.
Yep. No,
they're
look,
rosy.
Yeah. No. Overall, these are great improvements. I should clarify. I have other views on how people are just going to CPS for funding, I guess. But overall, the changes TJ's making, these are smart. Yes, it's great because it gives the best of all worlds, I guess, in a way of prioritization. So it gives options. People aren't just defaulting. They can pick what they feel, and then at the end, majority wins, right? So rather than a yes, no, for no reason. So that's good. Overall, look, I think CPS is interesting because I have this thing. Has CPS made us lazy? So ever since CPS has come about, I'm all for it. I love how the rewards have changed, which also I have views on. I've started to notice, projects for funding, Winible and a few others have come out, have been P-reps for a long time, haven't seen them do anything, now come in with big projects for funding. Kudos, awesome, great, go build, fantastic. What was happening before? I don't understand. If you were top P-rep, why wasn't this happening when the funding, and I'm going to just call it as it is, like we can all put our heads under the sand here, but fact is fact. What was happening there? And those rewards were insane back then. Say what you will, they were ridiculous. So that is my peeve. So it's great. Okay, now all of a sudden, so let's hope they deliver. And then on top of that, when I say lazy, I mean now the default I've started to see projects are just going to CPS for funding. I want this much money from CPS to build my project. Okay. Probably need more funding because it's taken this. Okay. What have you done? What are we doing to kind of go, the project should go, I need this much to bootstrap, and then I will kick off token sales, but get money from somewhere else to finish the product or some innovative way. Do you see what I mean? That's where my pet peeve has come in. I feel we've become lazy because everyone's just defaulting and we're not seeing ways to fund projects that you are seeing in other ecosystems, like the
Yet.
but I haven't seen anything. Look, and this is
Yet.
where, yes, okay, fine, David. We'll see. We'll glass half full kind of guy. I think we're in a time. Enough time has passed. Things should be moving. Like these are the things that should be happening to enable more. So, for example, some of the things that I've been throwing around and actively we're getting a bit of traction. Let's hope is in other chains they have ways where these yield farms and stuff have the ability to delegate a percentage of their vaults to a new token sale. Yeah, it gets voted on. So a team can go and building Operation Fez. Operation Fez goes to CPS. I need $50,000 to kickstart the project. In a month's time, I will then do another $100,000 raise via a token sale at 25 cents for Project Fez, and that will come from the vaults of let's use Optimus. Yeah, so when their own strategies launch, you could expect 200. What is the yield at the moment? APR is 100%. So off that APR, 10% goes towards purchasing Fez token at a given rate until it's sold out. Now, see what this does is it diversifies the project's ability to secure funding, and two, it lets the user go and give. It's not just giving the power to the P-reps, it's actually then also, as a user, I can opt into that vault and get a bit of funding. From my perspective, it's a win-win because I'm anyway taking that APR. If I'm in the vault, it's compounding. That's how these vaults work. To clarify, you put, vaults which Ohm will launch soon, a strategy around, Optimus. You put your LP into the vault technically auto compounds that LP. So every time it's getting its rewards, it's selling half and half and adding it back in. So your APR turns into an APY. So if it's 100%, it could turn into a 230% APY because it's compounded, and then you're gaining rewards on the higher amount. So many chains now have a strategy in there where percentage of that APR through the compounding goes to a new project that has been approved via governance, etc., to be implemented into those votes. Right, so I'm just throwing spitballing an idea here, but it is actually being utilized in other chains, and many projects are securing a lot of funding, and I would love to see stuff like this now happening on Icon. It's time, and I don't want to hear. I don't like hearing things like, "Oh, but what about the projects you?" Hang on, no, that's not how growth works. Like, this is part of the DeFi game. They've decided to emit their tokens in that manner, distribute it, giving us Iconist options is something that would go a long way to overall actually aiding the ecosystem. Because remember, the more projects we have that finish and actually build products that users use involves more transactions, which means we're getting to that. What were we talking about, Dave? The burn of Ethereum, like the burn of ICX. Okay, rant over, Dave. Rant over.
Yeah, I did notice in your rant you called us iconists. I'd like to stress that term is up for discussion in the Icon forums.
So what is that? I saw this Iconist. Let's go back one. Where are we?
It's been put up for discussion in the suggested form here. We would call ourselves Icon community members, but funnily enough, one of the first comments in the forum was, "Hey, I like Iconist." So I kind of want to keep that, says one person. And then the response was, we can. If it's the community saying, "Hey, that's what we want to call ourselves," then that's what we go with. And that's why this is such an interesting rebrand of our terminology. And I would urge anyone to go into the forum and just, throw some support out there, the little heart, give it a click if you see something you like, because that engagement is gonna mold a good document here.
Yep, agree. And for the record, I actually like Iconists. Like, every chain has their own kind of thing, and I actually feel sometimes it's faded. Bring it back. Like, Again, lunatics, some other, they all have their own thing. Iconist is our thing. Like, you can't take our thing. Like, come on, people, it's our thing. So yeah, no, I'm
It
with.
is our thing.
Yeah, some
And I'm not
things.
getting this tattoo removed, so they better stick with it.
See, in Australia, there's slang for everything, right? If you're telling me to go back to icon community member, Jesus, that's 3 words from one word. Like, we won't even say gas
What would it
station.
be?
Well, that.
Like, I can know.
Well, iconist is kind of a merging of everything. So a great way to look at it, like gas station, petrol station. Over here, we call it servo. It's actually a service station. So we actually call it servo. You're going to the servo. Yeah. Why? That's what we do.
Yeah.
We've literally tried to shorten everything. And you're asking me to go back to a long form?
Let's go to the next topico, mate.
Nice. Okay, let's do this. So TJ over here calls out. I hadn't really followed this, but David, I'll throw this to you about the proposals that are accepted that don't receive funding due to insufficient amount of BNUSD in the CPS Treasury will automatically be resubmitted to the next site. Okay.
It's another one of those extra cases, yeah.
Yeah. So if they don't part of the voting phase, they still get to go to the next cycle and don't have to submit. And if you're wondering every time someone goes to submit a CPS proposal, they have to pay some ICX, and I believe that ICX gets burnt. So
Yeah, and the main change here is that when they're voting, they're going to put in a ranking. So I'm going to vote yes on 3 projects, but I am going to rank them 1, 2, and 3. Now, if there isn't enough money available to fund 3, they got the green vote, but there's not enough money available, so they get submitted into the next round, and it's up to them, to beef up their proposal. I would say, get some more support and get ranked 1 instead of 3 by all the P reps.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's good. Next up, what have we got? Oh, okay. Staking management score update. So if you hadn't seen this was a great update. They've obviously made some changes from Python to Java. And what it has done is for SICX, it's reset all the delegations.
Has it though? Because I went to check and I could see that in my HANA wallet, the delegations were still set.
For SICX.
Yeah, I was thinking in HANA wallet, you know how you get to stake
Against a PREP?
choose your vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were still there the way that I had them before. So I was just wondering if maybe HANA just went ahead and reinstated that, or there might be other ways to stake that you'd have to go back and check. But in my HANA wallet, it remained the same delegation remained.
Yeah, okay. So the way I read this, to me it was all about the delegation will reset to even distribution among the top 100 P reps. Preferences for SICX held. Yeah, so this doesn't happen. There's no even distribution in when you normally stake. So the only thing I thought this applied to was when you swap your ICX into SICX, then it's staked, and at the moment Ohm is if you've moved ICX on Ohm to SICX and then use the Ohm token to nominate your votes, right? That will redelegate the ICX that's backing SICX to the votes you've delegated to. That is what I believe has been impacted, that allocation. So the original plan for SICX was to have it shoot off to all 100 PREPs evenly, but that changed, and now I believe they've optimized this to remove it. But overall, I did a bit of digging. I can confirm, so with balance, it's gone to any ICX that's been moved to SICX on balance, that's been staked, refreshed, and staked back to the builders of balance, so all that goes to them. And for Ohm, my understanding is you just have to go and renominate if it's changed. But I didn't think, David, your normally staked to a PREP ICX would have been impacted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
no, I could be, but yeah, no, yeah. But I did actually before this call also check with Scott to make sure with the balance is the balance side of SICX moved across, and he confirmed briefly it was. However, it's now back to its old settings. So, yeah.
Right.
Okay, wait. I had a system of identifying. Okay, great. Next up, what have we got? Ooh. Yeah, the monks, they have started tipping people.
They
Not,
have.
yeah, yeah. So they're tipping ohm tokens in the Discord server for people who are being productive, who are doing things. So, if you've been sitting on the sidelines not wanting to answer stuff, get in there, answer, make stuff, graphics, do something, anything you want. Just get in there and be what do they call monks? What's a short form? Be an ohm. There.
An homo.
Sorry?
An homo.
And yes, go be an homo and get in there. And it's the monks. Some of the monks who are very active in there will actually notice the effort and tip. Now, just to call out, do not jump in there and ask a few questions and go, "Where's my tip?" You're not going to get anything. Okay, you got to be in there. You got to be consistent, and it's just a great initiative. I've always said like, a great way to encourage people to try things and do different things is when you notice that kind of engagement coming from someone. If there's a bit of a reward or incentive in place, they will always go an extra mile after that because they don't want anything from it. But when they get, it's like a thank you. I'll keep building on this. So great to see. David, have you gotten a tip
Yeah,
yet?
I have not. I am happy to see the for me it's the return of the tip icon bot. I haven't seen it in a while, and I do remember playing I think roulette with it
Mm.
in Telegram at some point.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Tried to game the system, lost all, so wouldn't advise. I am going to go into this Discord next and get active, chasing tips. I would say I think it's a creative way of you know giving your community a bit of a pat on the back, so to say.
Mm. Yeah. And you can see, or just changing topic as I scroll down, you can see, boom, look, bullish, 70,000. I think this was one of the tweets I saw. Who is this guy? But okay,
That's
let's
my
keep.
TA.
Oh yeah, is that you? Is that secretly you as well?
There we go.
Okay, next up, what do we got? We got craft. Ooh, so over the past week, ICX NFT market cap has been averaging around 30 million. Huge. That's 12 times more than 6 months ago. This is quite
Yeah,
cool. Look, NFTs are really blowing up on Icon, definitely. So, some
yeah.
comparisons. Yeah.
I'm skeptical um, because I've seen blatant examples of wash trading left and right.
Mm,
There's this bot that reports trades on Craft,
mm,
and it's on Twitter, and I forget the name. Real Icon Helper bot, I think,
yeah.
and it kind of reports the trades and the sales that are being made. And a lot of it is Gangstabets being sold and bought. And it makes sense. I think that's a big driver for activity on Craft, especially
Mm,
because the concept with which it launched is miles ahead of the competition. It's even miles ahead of the Ethereum competition. If you see that they've only recently launched that token that is linked to the Bored A Yacht Club, everyone's like raving about it, and I'm thinking, hey, I recognize that. Gangstabet did that a couple of months ago. So there's real sales there, real utility. But I also see pictures of backyards selling for 500 icon um, daily, and I wonder, hey, who's buying random pictures of backyards for 500 icon? That's a logical question to ask. And I suspect, because I haven't done further research, I suspect no one is buying those. I suspect it is wash trading,
yeah.
and I think it's something that every NFT marketplace has to deal with. It's also something that the biggest marketplaces with the highest trading market cap, they also have that, right? So I would say across the board, all market caps are probably inflated by this. It's just something I wanted to point out because I think it's incredibly funny to see a picture of a tree uh, that isn't even. You know how you have to keep your horizon straight when you take a picture. Like it's it's not, and then that goes and it sells for 467.3 icon, and I see that pop by and I think that's not real. So that's something I wanted to note with this. But I don't want to take away any of the craft thunder because I truly believe that craft is positioned in exactly the right place as an NFT marketplace on Icon to grow massively. If they can keep up with their development and get additional resources in to, deliver on that interoperable promise, then craft is definitely one that you want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, yeah. Look, it's interesting your take. I agree. I think with craft, like OpenSea, for example, I don't understand. Apart from OpenSea wanting to get higher numbers, the wash trading, but in craft and like looks and stuff, I get it because they're getting a portion. If they're buying and selling, then they're earning the native token, right? So that actually encourages. So I know they've said they'll ban, and I wonder just how effective that is. So yeah, pictures of backyards being traded for $500, totally moving black money around.
I could be very wrong. There could be this connoisseur collector with a collection
Just
of
loves
backyards
Yeah,
across the world, and it's going to be like a Christie's auction after the Banksy one. There's going to be this guy with 1,000 backyards, and it's going to sell for millions. And he said, "Yes, I accumulated these on craft."
Oh, gold.
And am I going to look like an idiot then?
Well, until that day. Look, overall, this is great news. Look, just bringing it back down to a bit of positive. I've been very negative. Overall, you can just tell craft has gotten exploded in its users. All users flocking, new projects are just defaulting and doing new things on craft. I know personally new blood is coming in because I've influenced people to come in and join the ecosystem who just weren't even involved in crypto. So and it is having that impact. So that's great. It's more we need at that next step. A few members here and there, we want to catch that mainstream. Now, yes, you alluded to getting more people. I have, if I was going down on a sour note, I don't know how the protocol is making money. Well, what's happening with it? What is the DAO doing? What are things? I'd like to see more of that come. I've seen they've gone to CPS for more money, which I found interesting. But overall, let's hope that the team is putting together a bit of a game plan to speed up improvements. I know that CPS proposal was one of them, but again, I saw that as going out on an established platform, going out externally and re-asking for funding. But all good. It's a foundational app that is getting on new members, so be it as it may. The next up, sticking to craft, is this proposal. Oh, David, are you across this proposal?
I am, and you're laughing, so I want you to leave this one in.
No. Look, in all honesty, I was an emotional roller coaster with this. When I saw it, I was furious. But you know what I got furious about? I got furious about like this call out that we want to adopt BUSD, etc. I found that language very funny because I was like, no, you need to do it. Like, there's no point of having our very own stablecoin that is minted from ICX and none of our protocols adopt it. This is the biggest used protocol. You adopt it for our success of our ecosystem. So I found that interesting. I didn't know how I felt at the start, but then I did a bit of research and, I don't know how I feel about the distributions being all of a sudden given to something else. But while saying that, like when I look at some of the other AMMs, they do amend and vote. Well, I don't know. They launch with distributions to certain pairs where the native token goes. So I guess that's that's what got to me at the start, but I think that's standard across. So it's kind of a double drop, right? So I hope that's what it becomes. So I hope it's not just, from what I read, it looks like they'll incentivize craft and BNUSD and a little bit of balanced to that pair as well to make it more lucrative to lure liquidity. But overall, if I'm being completely honest, once Karma DAO comes out, I feel this is a waste. Like, once Karma DAO comes out, I would hope that they do a bit of a revote to direct the emissions to allow for bonding. Because at the end of the day, for the protocol, if they want price stability and no impacts, well, then you want to go down the protocol-owned liquidity way. So I see this personally as a temporary measure. I also see this as a weird bribe to integrate BNUSD, which I find hilarious. But overall, yeah, great band-aid fix, as long as it helps the stability of BNUSD as well. But I would hope Karma DAO comes out and they do not take 6 months to implement protocol-owned liquidity. It just happens. That's my thoughts.
I had similar thoughts. I started reading and I thought, what? No. But then, you're supposed to read these articles. You don't just read a headline and then run off and start, spouting your opinion. So I start reading the article and I read all the points. And by the time I got to the end, it said, thanks all and have a good day. And I thought, you know what? I am going to have a good day and I like this. So my opinion changed from reading this article. I think it's maybe a bit of a blunt, well, it's a straightforward title. Look,
Yeah.
I agree with the points made. Like you said, Karma DAO is going to be a game changer, so I don't know how long this will stay as is. But implementing the BNUSD, you call it a bribe, I call it encouragement. It's a good thing. The benchmark, you need to lock up 4 ICX to get 1 BNUSD. Any use case for BNUSD, I'm clapping my hands. Yeah. So I like this at the end, and I hope it gets put through. I hope it achieves what they're aiming for, and I would see it as a step forward.
Yeah, and yeah. Look, and this is just it. Like, for me, it's all about BNUSD. But I will say this: in a recent tweet that Scott put out, I didn't know how I felt about one of the pushes to put USDC as a minting process. I got the logic about stabilizing, but then, I don't know. To me, that defeats the point of BNUSD becomes basically DAI, and we know some of the shortcomings of DAI now is it falls into the same bucket. I guess that's a different topic. Let's just leave it. So overall, yeah, look, I see it. It's good. It's short term. If it helps stabilize the price, fantastic. I will be vocal again if we don't see Craft quickly adopt the protocol-owned liquidity model. And there's so many perks of that. Like, we're seeing Karma DAO starting to educate. However, just overall, there's just so many perks. We'll do a dedicated.
It's our next subject, I believe.
Is it? Oh, there we go. Yeah, Karma University. Oh, so good, so good.
It looks good too.
Yes. I thought you would appreciate it. When I saw it, I'm like, ooh, Digital Dave's going to love this.
Yeah, it's very digital. I like it.
It's got a pic. It's got, oh god, everything has got some kind of reference. Look at it. So look, if you're not, make sure you're following Karma Finance. I feel I always talk about this on various episodes, but read these threads. These are the kind of things I want. I love when I see protocols doing stuff like this, and I will give Robbie and Protocol 7 like amazing kudos. Like, they've split off, they're doing their thing, they're building 2 awesome protocols, and at the same time they are doing so much education right through the entire process, engaging community. You saw them kick off forum conversations around integrating why their product is a good fit for Balanced and Ohm. Robbie, if you're listening, please do it for Craft. And and now educational, and they've kept everyone up to date with what is happening with the protocol build itself. So huge kudos, huge shout out to the guys over there, and Hyperconnector's in there as well. I would be. I'm pretty sure it's him putting these together. So huge shout out to him. Amazing
I'd say
work.
so.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that the spread isn't broader. I feel that the distribution of this particular thread hasn't gone very far. It might be people seeing the header and seeing university and thinking, hey, I don't feel like learning right now. Might have to be more clickbaity on Twitter. But I think the content is obviously going to appear on their website and they can refer to it as we all move forward. So when the protocol gets launched, whenever that is, people will start piling in with exactly these questions that they could have read about now, but they're going to start asking those questions in 6 months' time. It's good to have this backbone, you can point them to here and say, well, look, you can find it all here, and it's well explained. I understood before, and now I understand double, so that's kudos to Hyperconnect.
And look at this. Why sell at a discount? It's for next week. So if you're not following, get following so you can get educated, which I'm hoping is next week, this week. Not long now. So definitely follow. Great work. Can't wait for KarmaDAO. Like, one could argue, but DeFi 2.0 is imploded. No, that's not the case. The protocol-owned liquidity platforms are running strong because it doesn't matter. The more protocol they own, the more stability of the assets. Even if those assets are dumping, the protocol-owned liquidity pools are coming out on top because they're getting all the trading fees, etc. So, it's fantastic. And it actually, overall, longer period of term, the more they lock in, the more that pool does not move, the better it is actually for the assets price. So, good things, good times. Okay, next up. So this is great. We've seen Mousebelt throw their belt in the ring. I didn't mean that, but thank you. So they've put up. So we're going to talk through some of the proposals we've seen while CPS was on pause. Mousebelt now. I know they're quality PREP team. They have been doing a ton of stuff, however, more around the educational, there's Real Vision and things like that they've been, not Real Vision. What is it, David? What's that show? Galen talked about it. The word escapes me, but it's Vision, something Vision. And, the goal over there, they were putting together a really high budget with great recording, interviews, things like that. And you could see it, when they had those interviews play, and often they have tweets. But in the background, Mousebelt have been doing a lot of building on the side for various things that people haven't been aware of. They're one of the teams that are working on Ice and Snow at the moment, actually building the blockchain with Web3 Labs and another team as well. So, they have been consistently building for Icon. Now they've come out and, oh my God, David, I'm going to keep ranting here, but I cannot tell you how happy this proposal made me, because all I had, and I know you listen to a lot of Iron Icon, but you probably recall all I ever see when I see someone pitch an AMM, I'm like, but why? Build an aggregator, people, build an aggregator. That's my default. And then they've just come in and said, we're building an aggregator. That's it. That's all I have to say. Amazing. I'm speechless.
Speechless. Me too. I'm happy because I think the team is a powerhouse. I think the product that they're bringing here is needed in our ecosystem, and with the cross chain on the horizon, it just brings so much potential as well. So it's not just potential that they're bringing the core functionality that is listed there with the trading view charts and stuff that we haven't seen on Ohm and Balance. So it's going to be a good product from the get-go. And on top of that, there's going to be this cross chain, these options, and this team knows how to build stuff. So I have no doubt that that's going to be done in a good way. It's one of the proposals that I would rank one if I were to be a PREP.
I hope PREPs are listening. People, this is what we need. Like, now we've got Balance. We actually still have Unify. That's still hanging around. All of a sudden you've got the new what are the guys building? Protocol 7. What's the other? Not Karma DAO, the other one.
Convexus, concentrated
Yes.
liquidity in AMM.
Now, if anyone wasn't aware, so that's basically Uniswap 3. So yes, Balance is going to have a bit of competition. I'm very interested to see how this plays out. At the start, I was very vocal. Is our ecosystem big enough? However, now that we have this aggregator as a user, you and me, we don't need to go and search for the best price. We just use this and it goes and finds the best price for us. But you know what, David? I had not looked at this and read this. That's why I highlighted it. So in the future, part of this proposal, it's telling us in the future it will serve as an alternative front end for BTP. Now this is quite cool because I a month ago adventured into Phantom. Okay, I'm a while back I spoke to Tony a couple of weeks back and we were catching up and I was telling him about my journeys and he goes, Fez, you are like an explorer in crypto. He goes, whereas I find a chain and just stick to it, you keep journeying on to different chains and seeing what there is and what's happening. And so true, I do. And in my journeys, like I started realizing I was using bridges a lot. Like I was moving assets from Terra to Ethereum to Binance Smart Chain to Phantom to Avalanche. Like I was just going nuts trying to explore. And when I got to Phantom, I hit Spooky Swap, which is a AMM, but an AMM that has cross-chain moving assets across chains built into it. So, and I found that quite cool. Now, when I look at this, then this really fits because all of a sudden they're building a DEX aggregator that potentially then, and we've had when the next version of BTP, the actual real BTP launches and say it has that application layer, you've heard Scott talk about it. So one, it could probably do that. So all of a sudden it's aggregating the best weight across chains. I don't see why this wouldn't be able to do that, Fling. And two, but it could also just serve as another way of moving assets via BTP, which is also awesome because as long as if it's using the same underlying tech and not using another bridging solution, well, those assets are just adding to, they're not multiple tokens on different chains. So this is something here I'll be a little bit critical of, say, Luna and stuff. They've got Wormhole, but there are a few other bridges. And unfortunately now when you go on and start to look for a certain, like their stablecoin on other chains, there's various pairs. Some of them don't have liquidity. You don't know. Many users are confused which one is the real token. Everyone will default and say Wormhole, but even then, some of the exchanges don't support it. It's a bit of a mess. And so when I'm talking and looking through this, it's like, okay, this is cool because even though it may create a way, like Spooky Swap is another solution, right? But in this case, it's a front end for BTP. Yes, it may built in show maybe like Spooky Swap where you can move it, but ultimately it's still using BTP to move those assets, which means it's the same token back moving across the chains and minting on the new chain. This is cool. I'm excited. I know I harped on about tokenomics, but this is a great example of a protocol. They just no need to push out a token if it doesn't make sense. If there's no value add, that's one thing I should say. Projects, when thinking of bootstrapping and then launching a token, obviously the token should have some kind of value, not just a token for the hell of a token, right? Otherwise your price is just going to go down. So I found the team was quite smart here, not doing releasing any token at the present time. Later on they could retro drop. They could do. There's so many. These are the things I want to see happening on Icon, and this proposal is great. The only thing
it's a relief too, not dropping a token because that would further fractionalize my Icon reserves. It's it was easy a couple of years ago. You just had one bag and it was called ICX, and these days it's it's a lot to be a part of.
Yeah. It's good though. That's what I actually love. Like my basic tactic at the moment is if I find two assets that I don't care what I hold the amount of, and there's an LP pool, straight it goes into LP. I've accumulated most of my craft thanks to a terrible amount, tiny little bit of LP I put into craft and SICX, and now it's done well for me. So I've used that logic across many chains. I'll just find some the two assets that I really like and find an LP pool and dump it in there, and hopefully that LP is paying like 100% APR. I'm like, well, that's just money well left. There you go, David. I can sense you banging away at your keyboard. Are you re-strategizing right now?
I am not at all.
Oh, okay, burn.
I've the effects of impermanent loss are
but see, that's the best
covered
part.
and researched.
But that's the best part. If you're holding either asset, if you're holding two assets where you don't care which one you're holding more of, are you really suffering impermanent loss? When you pair
if one of the two pumps,
yeah,
then you're basically dollar cost averaging into the other one
of
that
course,
isn't pumping.
of course.
So if a pump is, let's say, 100%, that you dollar cost averaging in the other one, that's not a linear line, that's exponential. So you basically, for 100% pump, on the whole, for you, that could be like your bag would go up 10%. And then if 2 weeks later the other one pumps 100%, the same thing is going to happen the other way. And as a whole, again, you're going to grab your 10% increase, but that token did 100%. So now you've missed 200% pumps because your bags were kind of flowing into in the liquidity pool. They were flowing into the other asset. As per the mechanics. So I've experienced this with a couple of liquidity pools now, where I thought in hindsight, you know what, maybe I cared a little bit more than I thought I did. But if you really don't care, I'm just saying you're missing out on the dollar value increase more than I thought you would.
Yeah, look, but it evens out. So yeah, I don't. So I've done it on all angles, and I've got a certain asset sitting in there now for 8-9 months at a consistent 100 to 120 APR, and I've come out far on top from my personal. As long as it's not paired against a stable coin, I can't be more clearer about that. Because in your example, yes, it's happening, but in each circumstance, if the prices are rising, eventually you're still ending up with. So in your example, if it goes up 100%, you end up more with the other one, and then another 100% on the other. You kind of then come back at parity on both assets because it keeps trading between the two.
Yeah, but they haven't both doubled. They've both gone up factor 0.1, right? So if you would have held them not in the pool, they would have both doubled. But now they've flown to the left and then flown back to the right, and as a whole, they've gone like factor 1.1, I would say, 10% on top. But this is something that we can do a whole.
Well, let's do a separate show with graphs. I want to see details because so far at the moment, I'm loving my daily yield.
I'm loving your daily yield too.
Good. Thank you. No, but let's do that. I think everyone would enjoy an episode like that where we actually, put 100 on this side, 100 on that side, and let's talk different prices and what actually happens, and when it goes down, what happens. Put a lovely flowchart together. Ooh, they're becoming something I'm enjoying. Okay, let's keep moving.
To ask the community. Anyone who's made it this far into the podcast should respond on Twitter saying that they want to see this happen.
You know what?
Or if they don't want to see it happen.
Yes. Please say do, because
we can judge next week how much people are mentioning this newly liquidity pool podcast that we talked about, and if no one mentions it, then we know that we've had 0 viewers.
Yes, exactly. So there you go. First official request. Get out there, comment. Let's make some noise. Let's get some views on it. I'm keen to know because I do understand what David's saying, but my analysis has been a little bit different over with that, but I could be wrong. I'm not that much of a math guy. I kind of just generalize and go, oh, look, I'm getting money. Okay, next up. So that's very excited about that proposal. When it comes to fruition, I haven't read in detail, but overall, I feel it's in a good team's hands to be bringing it live. Next up, we have the one and only, I believe, the Wizard. So this looks like FOMO. So FOMO in the background has been working on an NFT game. Now, look, I'm going to give a very quick... I'm actually going to get FOMO on the show to talk about this. I have actually quizzed him a fair bit. I'm kind of excited what he's trying to build. It's a very much a artist-driven ecosystem in a game where there's spaces and everything in there that is used for the rooms are NFTs for the game that are actually made by artists. So it's a real unique spin take on the genre, and it's yeah, he's put a lot of thought into it. I know he's been pulling the right devs, and one of the best parts is this is actually going to be launching on Icon. We've seen a lot of this stuff happen with people pushing to launch on Snow and Ice, which makes sense. So they're getting funding, going to Snow and Ice. It's easier to build, because that's probably why Icon struggled, due to, it's not Solidity. But here we've got someone actually wanting to build this, utilizing craft, a game on top, encouraging artists and stuff. And I'm going to get him on the show to break it down. It's pretty cool. It's a real cool concept. And it's quite a detailed plan to run through here. I don't know, Digital Dave, have you had time to look at this?
I have read it. I want to see him on your show.
Okay.
Because I know that he's a very intelligent contributor in terms of content and educational stuff, and also the more technical details of the interoperability within Icon. So when I saw that he is doing this, that excited me.
Yeah.
It's partly the fatigue of seeing another NFT game coming to Icon. It's funny because 6 months ago we had nothing, and now we're getting picky. So you have to bring something new, right? You have to be special in a way. It was easy when Ganstabet came to the scene through CPS. I'm not saying that what they did was easy, but the entire Iconist community was looking at it. And when it launched, everyone went in and just, played along, because there was nothing else. And right now, as we're seeing with the CPS proposals just shooting through the roof, there's so much arriving, which is absolutely what we want. And now it's time to diversify for these projects to bring something new to the table. Just linking it back to the Blobble developer that you had on 2 weeks ago, they have their Blobble data stored in the NFT on the blockchain. So the way that your Blobble looks is stored on the blockchain. So it's not linked to an Amazon server somewhere on the other side of the world, a third party, a centralized solution. No, it's the real deal. So that's something, that's the edge. And I'm curious to hear from this project what the edge is, right? I think you just gave it to me, where you said all the elements in the game are individual NFTs that can be pushed forward by artists. I like that.
And this is one of the things, that's why I want to have, because I had actually jumped on a call with him and he talked, and I had a few questions, and when he explained it to me, I thought it was quite cool. And this is where this drawing kind of highlights. So there's spaces, and in there you could say even display, but at the end of the day, everything and anything happening in these rooms gets created as an NFT. So it really gives not just people who are artists that are making art, it really gives designers all kinds of things, like people and a foot in the door to do something creative in the digital space. So very, very unique, and excited about this. And look, I'll get him on the show. I actually just messaged him just before we started recording. I said, hey, got to get you on the show to talk about this. So exciting times. And
what would you make if you could make something for the room, an NFT?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not that creative. A table?
Me neither. I do a batch of tiles. I do 20 tiles.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, 20 tiles. It's literally got tiles everywhere. A tile on top of the tile. No, I would set up maybe just make the man cave, with 3 big TVs, every console, computer on the side. Obviously stuff I'll never have time to use, but just that it exists in the NFT space as an NFT, that would be pretty cool. So, look, one other thing, David, you mentioned, and I thought this is a good call out. So, Ganstabet is a great example, okay? So, Ganstabet took $60,000, 6 months, built the NFTs, then sold the NFTs, sold out 5,555, and now using those funds to build Gangstaverse. Yeah, so I think this comes back to my mini rant I had earlier in the show. They did it before it was. They did that when at the time. Well, that was their strategy. That's a great strategy, and it's paid off for them. They had sold out where they've secured funding. Now they're building it out even further. There's a lot of hype around it, etc. So yeah, like to see more of that. Who knows? FOMO may
Yeah.
have something like that up its sleeve. I don't know. I'm just commenting randomly. Okay, let's keep moving. We've gone above an hour, so I want to keep things moving. So Gangstabet, they teased a little bit about the civilians NFT owners. So, they've given an update that civilians with golden keys, previously password tokens, and there'll be airdrop to the community in April. Oh, we're getting another airdrop. And you know what I noticed? I didn't retweet this. So while I'm here, let me retweet it. Okay, great. Any thoughts?
My thoughts are that this is interesting. Now, I only have one Gangstabet NFT, so I won't
What?
be able to create a new civilian. Yeah, it was my first NFT. It's a lady, and you need two NFTs to create a civilian. You need two gangsters and a golden key, and the level of your civilian, I think they're gonna range from useless to
Mhm.
genius, I
Yeah,
suppose,
yeah, yeah.
is going to depend on the level of the two gangsters that you use to mint it. So that's pushing the GBet burn
Mm.
to another level. I would expect a lot of people to start minting these civilians and then realizing, hey, I got a dud. I got an analog Dave. I need to level up my gangsters so that I can mint a new civilian that is a higher level digital next level. So that's going to push the gangster bet burn because
Mm.
that's the token you need to level up your it's new incentive to level up your gangsters.
Yep.
Um,
There you
if
go.
there's
Look.
anyone out there with like a fully upgraded male gangster, I've got a level zero female, but I'd love to get together with a golden key.
Hey, hey, hey! No, Sean. No, no. Hey, there you go, David. David's out on the market. Anyone interested? Please get in contact with him for his gangster bet. Everyone, calm down. Look, I think this is great. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I think this is famous. You've just witnessed David's gauging of sentiment to determine the bottom. And right now, he is calling GBet's bottom because very soon, if we want to qualify for these airdrops, if you want to ensure we mint a higher level civilian, you'd want to have updated gangster bets. Oof, the time has come. Let's see how this goes. This will either age really well or terribly.
Yeah.
Then the other little sneak peek we had of, and I'll just run through these. The Emerald City, the first city that will be on the Icon chain. It's looking nice, a little bit cell shaded. It appears pretty cool. Excited to see when this launches. Just now, we just want a date, don't we?
I do.
Yeah, I know you do, and you want someone for your gangster. I know, so lonely. Okay, next up we've got. Oh, this is good. Poker tournament. So, Tamashi Poker Stars, we've got a community driven event. If you didn't know about this, well, you're reading about it now. Make sure only registered citizens, so you need to get out there into the Tamashi Discord and register, and you can take part in this poker night. Cool, great way to engage. He's been doing a sensational job engaging the community. Thoughts?
I like it. It's the first community event of its sort here on Icon, I believe. I do know that the Gangster Bet was rewarding users to initiate meetups. So there were lots of people from different countries meeting up, whether that was digitally or in real life. They were being rewarded for it, and this is a next step. This is Tamashi. You go in, you play poker. I've registered. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, but I've registered just in case. And you can actually win a Tamashi. It's going to be
Oh,
a
what?
Tamashi versus Icon. that's the collection where they kind of collaborate with the Icon ecosystem. So it's not a Tamashii belonging to the original story, but I believe there's going to be a poker Tamashii minted. The winner of the tournament, I think, takes home that Tamashii. So if you're any good at poker, I would suggest hopping into that Discord, doing the quick registration, and then they hand you your star, which is your buy-in. You're good to go.
Awesome. Okay, well, see, there you go. You got the latest. I wasn't across that. I didn't realize that, but I know I'll lose in the first hand. Although, funny story, when Geo, they launched the testing the first time about poker and IconBet, I went in there, first 3 rounds, won them all. Geo thought I was, doing the old poker face. I'm like, nah. Then obviously, as soon as Geo left, it was like he was good luck. When he was on, I was winning all the rounds. As soon as he left, I lost everything. So yeah, definitely not a poker player. I have all the tells: swearing, looking anxious, sweating, you name it. Displaying of cards when I'm winning. Terrible. Okay, next up, Rarity Hunter app is almost ready. So this came off the hackathon, CPS funded. The way I understand it, you can basically put your NFT and it'll tell you how rare it is. At the moment, one version I used on one of my gangsters, the most plainest, simplest looking gangster told me I had the number 2 rarest. I figured it was faulty. So I'm really looking forward to this tool coming out and telling me, do I really have a rare Ganstabet or no? I'm leaning towards the no between you and me, David.
It's going to help with the back gardens as well.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the backyard guy. We can scan it ourselves to see, is he going to be filthy rich? Gold, love it.
Yeah,
okay.
I like this project. I think it got sniped by Ganstabet. Actually, it came in through the hackathon that Devera did, the blockathon, and I think before they even went through the judging and the awards, the people at Ganstabet had already realized its potential and said, hey, can we assist or help in development? It could also be because the guys started experimenting or got the idea from the Ganstabet marketplace. So there was already something like a bit of a romance happening there. And I think they're working together on getting this out there. But it is going to be clear, for the entire craft marketplace, I think, right? I don't want to say any wrong stuff, but I think it's going to be for the entire craft marketplace. So you could also check your Tamashii, maybe. You can check your backyards. You can check your badges, all that stuff.
Yeah. No, looking forward to it. I know I've used one somewhere else. It wasn't good. Not on Icon, in another ecosystem. So I'm looking to having a default where you can just enter your NFTs. Cool. Okay, let's move on. Winible. Now, I didn't know. Oh, the same prediction here. No, back to Winible. I didn't know about this. So it looks like they've been doing a lot of work. I know they've revamped and done a lot of things, but obviously now they've done a bit of work around making it very feasible to claim your bottle. I do have a bottle, actually. Yeah.
How does that work? Is it somewhere?
Yes, so they're holding it. The way they did it, they have it in some winery somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was always the case that if you want, you had the ability to burn it and redeem and get your wine delivered. Now, it's probably safer just staying there, otherwise it'll get drunk as well. So, yeah, look, excited about this. I'm excited about all the changes they're making. So I actually want to see... I want to see that come to fruition, some of the plans they've communicated. So looking forward to that. If you haven't, just go over to their Twitter page. In fact, I was just thinking we should really get them on the show. Yeah, look, that's another...
We should, because I don't own one of these, but I would rather own a wine bottle and tell my friends that, I own this pretty expensive wine bottle and it's stored for me in this wine cellar. Where are they? Are they in France?
Yeah. I believe they are, from memory.
Wow. And then I missed this one, but get them on the show, please.
Yeah. Okay. Done for you, David. Okay.
Have them send you a taster as well in advance.
Oh damn. Yeah. Okay. How about I just have my bottle delivered to you? Problem solved.
They send it to me. I was going to have them send it to you to come on the show.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Right. I was just sacrificing a bottle. Okay, cool. Winible. Now, then the other things, there were a few quick NFT call outs or Fight Club. I think we called this out. It was on the news list. Donnie doing a good job here. If you haven't already, make sure you're getting across this. He is building 16-bit Fight Club. He is building a fair bit of hype. I know, David, you're excited about this one, aren't you?
I am, and I would advise everyone to click that video and put your sound up to the maximum because the soundtrack is fire.
Ah, love it. Oh, you know what? You're going to make his day. I know he's very pedantic. Oh my God. I could tell these stories of how many hours I've heard him tell me it needs to be just right, and I tell him to shut up. Just get it out there. So, yeah, he is very particular. Music is a world to him, the artist, the guy who is building all of this, who is going to be on the show soon, where I'm actually going to have him on. And full disclosure, he is my best mate. He's one of the people who I said that had brought him into the crypto world via NFT. So, yeah, we'll have him on there. He can talk about his inspiration for the project. He can talk about how I've been constantly drilling him to hurry up. and I've already I've proclaimed that I want a particular one in the collection, but as it is, I'll have to go up against everyone on however the launch minting process is going to work. You'd think I'd know a lot more details, but I don't, David. I just put the pressure off when drop. Just like, when we see all those airdrop messages, I kind of channel all of that frustration and take it out on him by when drop. And yeah, look, and the music thing, yep, totally. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to the soundtrack. Lastly, we're ending the news. Longest news ever, David. We've been chatting away. GalleryDAO. Excited about this one. Full disclosure, a few of us are involved in this one. David, you yourself, me, we're working with the teams building this to bring this out. So definitely excited about this concept. Really excited to see what comes from it. So, and a bit of a hint, I think we'll have a bit of a preview video dropping, what the gallery will look like. Some pre-renders.
Soon.
Yes, soon.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. If you aren't, follow, get in there, follow. Ones to look out for. Not financial advice. Yes, have involvements in some of these, so you could call this a bit of a shill. But genuinely, like, if I wasn't involved in GalleryDAO, for example, I just like the concept. I like the idea. We're seeing a lot of this display NFT places pop up, but this is cool because we've got this. It's a one building that technically can exist in any I was going to say multiverse, my goodness, not multiverse, metaverse. But when you walk in the building, it's the same building, so you're looking at the same collection. So all of a sudden that NFT is being displayed not to just one chain, but many different chains and many people, many artists that publish on various chains. If they put it in the gallery, any user that walks through the gallery can see the NFTs, their collections, depending on where it is in the space, but it's consistently displayed across all the chains wherever the gallery exists. And why is it a DAO? Because you can take part in rent and a few other things that will get released soon. That's the benefits of actually holding the token for the GalleryDAO token, which I'm really excited to talk about when the time comes, because ultimately the token is a lot of thought is being put into the tokenomics of it, that it's giving value to the holders. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, you're leaving it at that as well?
That's a good summary.
Yep.
Yeah, and we have more soon. That's basically the TLDR. So does that bring us to the end?
That brings us to the end, apart from token sale. Token sale, oh my god, I keep talking about token sale, but apparently GalleryDAO will have a token sale. But that is the end, David. That is it. Any closing words?
Closing advice, not financial advice. Anyone who made it this far, I'm going to bless with a Twitter account that you should definitely follow. His name is Zach. It's at ZachXBT. What he does 8 hours a day is research scams in crypto. So he's basically publishing screenshots and his research findings of rug pulls, NFT scams, big rapper celebrities, basically fleecing their own following, and it is very informative. It shows you the ugly side of crypto, And it also helps you weapon yourself to recognize the red flags moving forward. I kind of like to like his posts and respond to them because I think it's very valuable content. It is actually quite entertaining as well. Small snippet. The latest one was a project that was going to launch on Harmony, and they collected loads of money.
Oh yes.
But what they had done is they had taken their money and invested it all into Harmony token at about the 30 to 40 cent range of price. And then as it came down, I think everything came down, they panicked and they sold at around the 10 to 15 cent range. So they lost about 500,000 of their funds. Next, they weren't sure how to solve this, and they decided we're going to do leverage trading to make it back. Fast forward, all the money's gone. The community has bought in and is being told, yeah, money's gone. And what do you do? You know, I'm not sure if there's any consequences there, and what kind of happens. But this guy reports on this kind of stuff, and he actually posts the screenshots of like the conversations in these Telegram groups, or he shows just tweets that have been deleted, but he's obviously kept a record. So very interesting and entertaining account to follow, and that would be my last piece that I wanted to share with everyone. Anyone who's made it this far in.
Well, you know what, David? Can you make sure you send that to me? I will put it in the show notes. Although then that rewards them for not staying around. But I feel it's too valuable not to pass on to everyone. Okay, yeah. Cool. Look, David, thank you for joining me today. I know.
Thank you.
Yes, coming on the show last minute, and it's been fantastic. I think we had a great chat. You heard me. You heard a few Fez rants, which was. Yeah, good, I guess, or bad. I don't know. I don't know how people feel about Fez rants, but overall, really appreciate your input as well on each of the topics. Maybe have you back on the show some other time as well.
Yeah, gladly.
Cool. As always, everyone, share, like, subscribe. You know the drill. We're up to just 256 followers on the new channel. We need to get that higher. If you hadn't already, make sure you watch the last interview that dropped. It was with Mo. He is from Web3 Labs. He built the Binance Smart Chain integration. He shares his experiences building the BTP component of it, some of the challenges, and just, you know, it's a real down-to-earth conversation. And believe me when I say this, Mo is incredibly switched on and he knows his stuff, and a real asset for us to have working in our ecosystem. So if you haven't listened, I really ask you, jump on it and listen. You will enjoy the conversation. So that's all. Thanks, everyone. Take care. See you, David.
Bye.